Welcome back everyone to Battletech Advanced 3062 and our Irby Derby campaign. Today we've dropped in against the Canopian Magistracy, which is always easy for me to say, and the premise of the contract was that we'd be fighting one elite lance, and instead we're fighting one, two, three different Canopian lances. So a little bit of a bait and switch. Our employers have pulled a fast one on us. But as it is a 4-skull mission, since we're moving up in our reputation with the Taurian Concordat, we are fielding 6 mechs now instead of the 4 that we fielded for that 3-skull the other day. So still a little bit lighter than what we could run, and we might end up paying for that. But I thought it would be a good idea to keep things a little bit light, a little bit smooth, and you know, I say light as I field 2 Basalt mechs, but late game Battletech is always a bit of a Steiner Scout Squad situation anyway. So we do have eyes on the Stalker, only 2 evasion pips, and this thing's high tonnage is giving us a, well, basically no differential from size, which we can see here. Well, okay, I guess there's a size delta of 100 tons versus 85, 15, I thought it was supposed to be 25, but I could be wrong on that. But anyway, we have all of our guns online, including the Piercing Large Pulse and a C3 Master. Let's see what we can do. And of course, the very first shot goes right into a rock right in front of our face, but the rest of it landed pretty well. I think we landed the piercing on left leg, it looks like. Not a lot of good effect there, unfortunately. And most of the rest of it did go to arms, so not the best volley, but at least it's something. Now we do have the Atlas, and this Atlas is configured with a lot of Thunderbolt missiles. These are meant to deal extreme stability damage, and also pretty decent regular damage, I guess, armor damage as well. We do also have double ER large laser for direct fire support, but with 63% chance to hit, I think we're going to turn one of those off, turn off one of the Thunderbolt 5s, and make sure that we stay cool for our next shot, hopefully with better accuracy. And wow, jeez, rolling pretty hot there on the Thunderbolts. We land them both right into the CT of that Stalker, and that's the sort of effect I would have liked to have had with King Crab's Gauss rifle. But you know, these things happen. And if we take a look in now, yeah, so Viper and our Marauder is going to have trouble because of just the sheer amount of heat generation that those improved binary lasers do generate. So we're going to turn one of them off, turn the other on to split fire, and see what we can do. We do finally land the C3 Master, which means that we'll have a bonus on all of our subsequent shots, and we can follow that up with the Thunderbolt. And this is just the way that I find most effective, at least starting off. It will be a good thing for us to kill that LRM carrier for sure, but concentrated fire on something like a Stalker, which has almost as much firepower as well, is almost always a good idea. We're going to turn off the 2 ER mediums because of that 47.3% chance to hit, and let's hope now that our LRM-20 can do a little bit of quick seeking in that Stalker's center torso. Not enough, unfortunately, so no kill, but it has to be sweating by now. 100 structure left, which is, I mean, that's quite a lot. It's not like there's nothing. And we're going to be moving up, not quite as far as we could, because, well, I say that, but I think it is time to switch targets. The Dervish will have an excellent shot on the LRM carrier, and a decent chance to kill him, I think. So, let's see what we can do here. Should have switched to the Narc Launcher's mode, but it really doesn't matter that much anyway, as that LRM carrier is off the field. Our first kill, and we are taking this for salvage because of the supposed elite lance often means heavier mechs on the field, which I guess we do see with the Stalker, and that would be a decent prize, although I only get 3 salvage of my own choice. So, not the best payout ever. But let's see what Ridgehound can do. At least one shot going to the CT, ammunition explosion, and that is a kill. Very nice. So we're starting off, oh, what's that? Looks almost like a Warhammer. Yes, Warhammer. I would like to have a Warhammer. I think that would be a good addition to our capabilities, particularly to replace either the Orion or the Thunderbolt, both of which I find to be a little bit lackluster at present. Not their own faults necessarily, but it's just what I think about them right now. Not a good shot to be had. This would be... no, that's awful. We do have to move, which is a little bit unfortunate. So I only have the one sensor lock on Trash Can and King Crab. No way of pulling something out there. Let's see. So inside of a Whirlwind, we get 10% damage reduction and +2 difficulty to hit units inside Whirlwind. So we're going to go into the Whirlwind with Centurion, who is taking a forward position against an unknown enemy. Ooh, a Cataphract. Yeah, I mean, I like Cataphracts as well, so hopefully we can get a fair number of parts from this mission. We can turn off the 2 ER mediums, and that does cool us down to neutral. I would have liked that to be a little bit of heat sinking, but it doesn't look like we can manage that at present. And now let's hope that they start moving up toward us. Our goal ordinarily would be to take the high ground, and that is something we can still consider, especially with that Warhammer coming down. But I think we have enough here to do a bit of a two-pronged thrust, forward and to our right. Assault mechs are an interesting thing. If you don't have the right tools, they can be really, really difficult to kill. On the other hand, if you do have the right tools, they can be a little bit fragile in their own right. So, let me show you what I mean by that. Although this is a heavy mech, not an assault, the principle of a larger, heavier sort of mech on the field still remains. We're going to shoot for that right torso. And we landed the Narc, so that gives us a +1. Didn't quite manage to get him unstable, which was my hope. And you'll see why in just a moment. But we do need him to be unstable, so we're going to have to take a shot, I think. Let's go with the Atlas, El Duce himself. Always kind of makes me think of Mussolini, which isn't necessarily the best association that pilot could have, unfortunately. I think we need to land a single shot here, and we'll get unstable. Can we do it? 1. Yep, we landed it. And now that Warhammer has lost his evasive, which means that those 4 evasion pips are down to nothing. Much easier to hit now. Would have been nice to have that for those Thunderbolts. But instead we do have it for the King Crab, who has been either tagged or narked himself. Okay, narked. So we do have to be a little bit careful now. Trash Can will have to stay toward the rear of our formation unless he wants to take lots of slightly more accurate fire, which that's right there on the claw too. That's entertaining how that happens. And you can see now our accuracy compared to the last time that we scoped out doing this move is tremendous. Almost 90% on the rotary Gausses, 92 on the piercing large pulse and the C3 master. So let's take the shot, see what sort of effects we can have. And even though that was a frontal shot, it looks like we didn't land anything to that damaged right side torso. Probably should have shot for the left, but now that Warhammer is knocked over, we'll get any shot that we want on him. Not to mention we actually have 2 exposed torsos as well. That sounded like AC2s, maybe? A little bit hard to tell. I'll have to take a look. That's an AC2 carrier, not partisan heavy tank, quad AC5. I did think they might be a little big, but okay, so what kind of accuracy? Nope. Not going to shoot through my own guy with that kind of accuracy. But what we can do is come up here into the Whirlwind, and we'll shoot. We'll turn on both the ER mediums. I do want this thing dead. And what's the best shot for us? Is there ammunition? AMS ammunition? No, that's AMS itself. There's the ammunition in that right torso. That's what I thought it would be. That's why I shot for that spot in the first place. Based off of the Warhammer 7 model, and there's the kill. Notice if we had been able to get a little bit of crit seeking, we could have gotten that kill far earlier without having to go through all the trouble of knocking that mech down. But still, it's a decent kill. It didn't take us that long to do. It did take us a significant amount of firepower, but I mean that was kind of to be expected. It took us 4 max, which means in vanilla game, if you're playing this with only a lance of 4, or if you like to run a smaller lance to have something closer to the original challenge of vanilla, although I think that'll scale poorly with BTA's advanced max in the OP4, that it's still doable in a single turn, even with 4 max. So, the Orion Oni 1 MB. Light Gauss, Narc Launcher, Double Year Medium, LRM-20, SRM-4. It doesn't look like the most deadly thing, but I've seen it do incredible work, particularly with using its Narc and then following up with excellent missiles. Applied liberally to our own max armor, which is never a pleasant thing, so that I would like off the field. Tanks, of course, are always more of a pain to deal with than anything else, but that is a lot of, oh geez. Infernal Mortar Fire needs to go away, because our Centurion now risks blowing up. Not exactly what I want to have happen. We do have the ammunition in there for that Ultra AC-5, and that could go live and take off a side torso, maybe even kill the mech. I was really hoping that we wouldn't have to deal with any heat on a hot biome, and unfortunately we do. So this is why it's always nice to have your mechs run a little cooler than that Centurion currently does. Of course, if we did, we wouldn't have that wonderful large engine on them that gives us the mobility we take advantage of basically every single mission. The last mission, I think Centurion Ridgehound got 3 kills, which was more than anything else, including the King Crab. Not exactly shabby work. And that's not unusual either for Ridgehound. So I do love this design. It's one of my favorites. Been a pleasant surprise for us the entire campaign. Oh, if that mortar carrier moves again and shoots again at Ridgehound, we're gonna have trouble not exploding. Which I like not exploding. Not exploding is good. We want them to explode, not ourselves. So that could be an issue. This might be turning a little bit in our hand. There's the mortar carrier. Okay, shooting the King Crab. We have some space there. We have some space on our heat meter, and yep, okay, that's not a problem. The only problem was with Ridgehound, and now this thing needs to die. If we take a look, his armor is relatively heavy for a carrier. And if you keep in mind the LRM's armor, the LRM carrier armor was only around 50 to 60 at maximum. So we're going to come in with a dedicated carrier killer, I guess, with the Dervish. It's proven very useful at this in the past. If I turn off the Narc launcher, we'll be firing at just below the red line, so let's do this. A little bit risky right in front of a mortar carrier, but this thing will not live another round. We simply can't afford to let him. So let's get a move. Oh, make us safe-ish. 1 evasion pip is simply not enough. We're moving slower because of the heat. Which is the thing, I think. At least it used to be. So, okay, I guess this is our best choice. No, you know what? Because of the reduced evasion pips on Ridgehound, we're going to be waiting and letting him move somewhat last. That way we don't get lots of concentrated fire on a medium mech in our front line, which could prove rather disastrous for us. So take a shot in here, aiming for that damaged front armor. Give me a kill, please. There it is. And that Inferno Mortar Carrier is off the field. So at this point, we've taken 4 mechs off the field. That's an entire lance. Of course, we were facing 3 to begin with, which means 8 remaining. Ostwar, Cataphract, Orion. I mean, it's nothing shabby. There's an 85 tonner up here, as well as a Hunchback. 4P is the medium laser variant, which can deal a surprising amount of scattered damage, but can often still be very effective for it. So we're going to move the Thunderbolt up. We also have heat problems here, which we'll have to sink. So let's just take a look at what that means for us. Best shot is on the Hunchback, but oh wow, look at that heat. And let's turn off the LRM. Yeah, let's just jam 2 ER larges into the Hunchback. It's not exactly horrible work. It's still okay damage, and we have gotten rid of our explosion risk there, which is, of course, crucial. So now it looks like it'll be the Cataphract and the Orion moving up. And this has been a slow turn for us. We haven't really... I mean, we've taken out the 1 carrier, but we are still outnumbered 2 to 1. That's the Light Gauss coming in. Doesn't look like he landed another Narc, which is good for us. But we are, well... yeah, this is the point where it's not exactly ideal. And that... I mean, that point will come and go mission by mission, right? Like, it's not something that we can say, oh, we're doomed, we're gonna lose pilots. It's that point in time where you kind of have to focus in a little bit and really make sure that you're doing good moves with well thought out plans, and that you're not just scattering fire all across everybody in the Op 4 trying to go, oh, well, I have a slightly better shot on him now, him now, him now, him now. And then you get into a war of attrition against a force twice your size. That is an excellent way to completely lose and die, which is not exactly the goal. Or at least, I don't think that is. If that is for you, then I have some questions about why you're running a mercenary company. Sorry, something a little bit up with my voice today, not entirely sure what. Let's, there you go. And let's fire into this cataphract. Be nice to take those medium pulse lasers off the field. Of course, we have already damaged his CT slightly, so it is a pretty decent shot. Let's turn on both the ER larges and see if we can jam some damage on that Mac. 1 and 2. Missing one of the Thunderbolt 5s. I didn't see the lasers fire, but I could have just missed it. It's a lot of damage to the CT, and it looks like to the left side, torso, and exposed arm. Pilot hit on the Thunderbolts, but the Chancellor I think will be okay. It just means a little bit of time in med bay after this mission, which is alright. It only got 4 damage through, so yeah, kind of more of an annoyance than anything else. And let's get the King Crab out of that fire. Of course, there is burning terrain, which will be a little bit of a problem for us for heat on this turn. We still can fire. It looks like Rotary Gauss is at full capacity. And let's do it, see if we can take out the cataphract. A lot of damage going in. No kill. Somewhat disappointing. There was a lot of red there, I thought. And yeah, so we have opened up his CT now. Taking a bit of a heavy shot on the King Crab, looks like an AC-5 from that AC-5 carrier. And if we take a look at the cataphract again, 21 structure remaining on that sensor torso is going to make for an excellent target. So just barely walking Ridgehound, and let's see what we can shoot without burning up. Just the Ultra AC-5, or we can do only one SRM-6. Yeah, no accompaniment. Well, it's our best chance of getting a kill here. Well, so the SRM-6 will deal 36 damage, but it's scattered. Of course, with the arm missing, and with, well, and still the clustering chance isn't spectacular. We'd have to land a fair number in the CT to kill that way. Ultra AC-5 will deal 70 damage, and we only need one shot to land the CT, but we have a lower chance of any shots going into the CT. Still, I like this better as a chance to kill this Mac. There it is. Landed one shot to the CT of that cataphract, and down it goes. Okay, feeling slightly better about that now. It is, of course, 6 versus 7. So, not tremendously horrible odds for us remaining. Started off not that great, literally 2 to 1. But, so be it. That Rhino is getting a little bit close to us. I'd like to have him gone. Missile fire is getting quite annoying, and our King Crab can take a lot of punishment. But he can't take that forever, because, well, stability will end up being a problem. So if you look right now, we have 2.5 bars of stability full up. We are taking significant damage also on that left leg. Oh jeez. God. Wow. Alright, so our Thunderbolt also needs to move because that got jammed right through all of his evasion. We're also pretty damaged on the right arm, which is of course carrying 2 ER large lasers. And even more medium lasers coming out of that Hunchback. Okay, so it'd be nice to kill the Hunchback because then we can shift. We can rotate a little bit differently and focus in on the remaining mechs on the high ground. I'm a little worried about what that Stalker will do to us on his turn. Let's see. Okay, so this is an idea. We could get a rear shot with the Dervish, but what to take that on? So the Orion has relatively thin rear armor. This Ostwar has even thinner rear armor. It would be nice to start getting a little bit of flanking going on here. If we can. I can only do it with one. The Dervish, we weren't able to run with the Centurion last time, which is a bit of a problem. Let's go ahead and take care of our Thunderbolt first, who does need to fall back and shoot, I think. 2 evasion pips isn't terrible. We will sink a fair amount of the instability, but not all of it. not even a significant margin. What we need is a vigilance, but we don't have it available to us, unfortunately. So let's see if we can fire in and punish this rhino, or yeah, I don't know, this is a little bit tricky. Yeah, let's see if we can take those LRMs off the field before we have a chance to fire again. Be a little bit of a high task. I mean, this guy has incredible amounts of armor. It's almost like an assault mech, which is just ludicrous, I think, but, you know, it is what it is. And let's see, this is a fine position. I want the Marauder to draw a little bit of fire if I can. Pull it away from that struggling Thunderbolt. And let's get... Jeez, I really want both the improved binaries, and I want them firing on Linked. Let's hope that they drill right through the side of that Rhino. 1 and 2. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Structure exposed. Not quite a kill, which is unfortunate, but only 40 left. And if we can focus fire there, we'll have a good time, I think. Ooh, much better than the tank will, anyway. But that's kind of the goal. Where can I get a decent shot? Interesting. So, okay, so the Rhino's now moving on 2. I think our plan will be to hit it with the Atlas, but that's a lot of wasted damage if we only need to do 40 to the side of that thing. So I'm letting the Orion move first. This will also show me my options with the Dervish, where I would absolutely love to get a rear shot with the Dervish, but he is the most cost-efficient way of killing that Rhino, particularly because it would allow me to cool down as well, which is something that we definitely need at the moment. Let's try and move the Centurion. We can come up and around here and go around behind the Hunchback, but I think we're going to have more trouble off of the enemy Orion. Yeah, so let's get some fire on the front of that partisan heavy tank. It's a little bit of an odd choice, but there's no point firing this front of the Orion and the Ostuar if I intend to kill them through rear shots. So that's the explanation, I suppose. Let's still cool down a little bit and get a vigilance going so that we're moving a little bit faster on the next turn. This will also give a little bit of inspiration to the rest of the team, which is always nice. And we land both of those Ultra AC5 shots just fine. Yeah, so I could get a wonderful side shot there, but I think it would be better to kill that partisan tank. Fire going in on the King Crab. This is out of the Stalker. Injury resisted trash can. Shaking off a missile hit, and that Stalker just failed his own shutdown override, which is beautiful. We could drill through him, but it might also be a good idea to just let him die from the heat. Decent explosion chance given the amount over the red line that he's pushing, plus all of that missile ammo. Of course, targeted shots would be nice as well, which we do get. Yeah, you know what? Well, low odds of hitting the right side off of that. I don't exactly have a called shot. Let's go after the Hunchback. Yeah, I think that's a good chance. Oh, I thought that was going to hit my own Marauder. I was so nervous there. The way those things wind is just kind of crazy. Hunchback has lost his evasion, which our King Crab is also about to lose his evasion. We really need to get into a better position here and stop taking so many hits. You can see that armor is getting absolutely chewed through, particularly the right torso, but also a couple other locations. And let's get a little farther away. It is a sprint, which I shouldn't have done because it means that we didn't sync our instability. That's going to be an issue next turn. We could get knocked over. Okay, that was a mistake. That was a definite mistake. Of course, at the same time, knocking over that Hunchback is a very good thing for us. Oh, come on down. Let's go. There we go. Rotary Gauss Rifle is unjammed as well. And we have an 80-ton vehicle moving. And then it's just our Dervish that still has to go. Oh, geez, that was an AC-20. Okay. Well, somebody's gonna fall over. Oh well, it happens. It'll be alright. We'll be fine. Or at least I can keep telling myself that. Hopefully it'll come true. So what we're gonna do... Can I not get... Interesting. So I have to move here for a shot on that tank. Let's go ahead and do it. Pop Vigilance and shoot in, cooling off a little bit. 2 SRM6s should be enough to get that side shot. There it is. Very nice. So half of the out 4 is gone, down from 12 now to 6. Even odds on the field, and their hunchback is downed, of course, although he's standing up right now, which is not exactly what I'd wanted. I thought, well, they have a Vanguard pilot in there, that explains the high priority. And of course the AI will always stand up people first, which does make them a little bit predictable and kind of nice. What we need to do is we need to start killing these mechs efficiently, and to do that, we need rear shots. So, let's see what we can get. Oh, I need to sneeze 1 second. My apologies. Okay, so we need efficient rear angle shots on these mechs to kill them and take guns off the field, or we're going to start having some trouble. Okay. Fire everything we've got on this Orion. Yeah, we're burning a little hot, but if we can get a big reward for it, and there we do. So that's 1 mech off the field. That's why I absolutely love that Centurion build. It's just enough firepower to drill through the rear arcs of some of these mechs. Ostwar, and those missiles will knock over the king crab. Dagnabbit. Yep, down he goes. Plunk. Which is an excellent game, by the way. I haven't played in far too long. Pilot bleeding out, 5 turns remaining. Ostwar blew himself up to do that, so I guess we'll take it. Only 4 remaining now, and 1 of those heavily damaged. So let's reserve down to 5, and we've got our Marauder here. Can't get a rear angle shot, so we may as well not move, I think. Unfortunately, those binary lasers just built so much heat on this biome, it's ridiculous. Leg down, and back down you go, buddy. If you'd like to punch out, I wouldn't argue, but I kind of doubt it. Still, that'll make us having an easier job of taking him out. Oh, okay, so he took an injury when he fell that made him fail his unconsciousness check, and that mech is down for the count. 3 left, 2 of them tanks, AC-20, quad AC-5, and that Stalker, which I think is still currently offline. So I guess it could be looking a little worse for us than it currently is. Let's see. Demolisher rear armor. It's actually pretty light. I expected much worse than that. Huh, fair enough. Let's see if we can pound through it then. Might be a bit of a tall order. Can't always put haywire on this guy, make sure you can't move too far. Okay, so almost killed him, but almost doesn't really matter because the AC-20 is still online. Imagine if he landed both. That would have just been horrible. We do finally get a Vigilance for Chancellor and Thunderbolt, which is nice. And okay, so we can take a direct fire shot, or we can try to follow up crit seeking on that Demolisher D, but 23% chance to hit. I don't think that's going to happen. So instead, I'd like to shoot at that partisan tank. Hopefully we don't hit the back of our own dervish here. 1, 2. Okay, not bad. Not bad at all. Yep, that Stalker is powering back up. Sank all of its heat, but no shots this turn, which actually works just fine for me. I think that's alright. We're going to shoot in at that partisan. Don't have the heat capacity to fire both the larges. But this is that long-range fire support that we were hoping for off of shoving a whole bunch of Thunderbolt missiles into the Atlas. So, that's another vehicle down. We have 2 left. 1 severely damaged Demolisher. Well, I guess I shouldn't say severely. He's only really damaged from that rear arc. And here's the AC-20 shell. I don't know how he missed, but thank goodness that he did. So let's stand trash can up, and if we take a look, we're down to 54 armor on some locations, 27 on the leg. We cannot afford to keep taking a pounding like that. It will simply kill our, well, Hero Mech King Crab, which is not exactly what we want to have happen. So we'll move 1 so that we get a single pip of evasion, and I think let's get some preemptive revenge on this Stalker. Turn on everything and pretend that we're the bad guy from that Star Trek movie. Fire everything. And of course it goes super poorly for him, so let's hope that we don't quite get that part of it. And now we have a bit of a risk because in order to get a rear shot with the Dervish, we're kind of exposing a bad angle to the Stalker, but we really need this Demolisher dead and gone, so let's do what we can. Oh, jeez, I don't like firing all but 1, but that's what we gotta do. Demolisher is down, so now it's just the Stalker. And if I were that mech, I'd be sitting there going, Well, it started off 12 versus 6. Now it's me versus 6. Wouldn't exactly be having a good time. We're going to take a rear angle shot here. Maybe not the wisest decision because I doubt that we'd be able to... Yeah, we don't have the heat available to fire everything that we've got. There's such light armor in the back of this stalker that it seemed like a good idea. Of course, killing a heat sink will make him overheat even faster or fire fewer of his guns. Either of those options, of course, I am more than alright with. And let's turn on what we can. Looks like everything. Alpha Strike coming in. Very nice. This will follow up. Oh, there's the kill. Ammunition explosion. Alright, well, that's the mission. Thank you all for hanging around, and we'll see you again real soon.
Mission successful.